yeah, let's get started. Let's talk about the new single. I mean, you sent me that new single, Spitfire,
Yeah,
Confess. I'm
yeah.
a huge fan of the band, and it releases this Friday, the 27th. So everybody that's listening in, jump on Spotify and get this new single. So let's talk about it, John. Spitfire. Tell us
Mm.
about the writing of this one. This is the newest Confess song. It's been what, about 2 years almost since you guys put out something new?
No, it's been like 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Yeah, we released our previous album in I think it was like February 2020, before the pandemic.
Right, right.
It was kind of the pandemic that ruined the whole album, the all the touring around it and all the promotion work around it. So this is our comeback, I'd say. We've been playing live, but to have some new, fresh music out there is it's feels good. Feels good.
It's a great song too. I mean, I think it really
Thank
brings
you.
when I think of Confess, I think of live too, because everything that you guys have brought out previously,
Mm.
it always had that live sound. I mean, it has that good party, aggressive power, that
Yeah,
that the band puts into it. And I think this one really, the fans are gonna love it, I think.
I hope so. I hope so. But I'd say that this song is it's like a classic confess song, meaning that uh, uh, we can be kind of out there sometimes and try other stuff on specific songs, but this is like our purest confess sound that we can get, basically. And it's like, gritty guitar riffs, dirty vocals, and big anthem choruses, basically. That's what it is.
Right.
So I hope this song, it's very basic in a way, songwriting wise. It's very like verses, pre-chorus, chorus, and so on, solo.
Right.
But I think we need this kind of song to start this over again. No, um, but yeah,
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you like you said earlier, you came off the pandemic, off the last album, and really anybody that put anything out during the pandemic, you had no time to tour for it, you had no time to promote it
no,
properly and
no,
back anything up. And and this one too, like you said, it's cleaner. It's got a nice punk element to it too.
yeah,
That driving boom boom.
exactly. And I think when we released our first record called Jail, that was the when we got reviews and stuff like that for it, a lot of people talked about it like a good mixture between punk and hard rock and metal. And I think this song is really back to the roots for us in some way. So that's why we kind of chose it as a first single now.
It is a great song. I think the fans they're gonna be smiling when they put this in and press play. There's no
Yeah,
doubt
awesome,
about it. No doubt about
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, writing this song too, John. I mean,
Mm,
it's like we said, it's been 4 years. Now it's back in the groove, and you have
mm,
some new elements, new players, in the
yeah.
band, or a couple new changes. Tell us about that, about the writing of the song and how all this came together.
Um, Actually, this song wasn't. It's not that old. It was our drummer Samuel. He kind of wrote it, um, like the uh, what do you say, like the skeleton of the song. He sent us a demo, and we kind of sent it back and forth a couple of times and tweaked it here and there. But it's not too. We didn't overthink it that much. This song was written, can't remember, but it was, I think it was this year, sometime this year. And we've been writing stuff like for the last 2 years or something like that.
Right.
So we have a lot of new songs on the way. But this was just, we did the demo, and it was like, yeah, we should put this out now,
Right.
basically. So the actual writing of it wasn't that complicated. Other songs we've been working on for, I don't know, like some songs like 2 years, and they're still not finished yet. We kind of change, you know, you do a recording of a demo and you live with that song for a couple of months or something, because we haven't really planned any studio time until now. So you live with a song for a couple of months, and then you're like, oh, maybe we can change the chorus here, or we need a better intro or whatever. But this song was like, yeah, let's do it. So it's been very uncomplicated song.
Those are usually the best songs too, when you can just,
Yeah,
put it out there and
yeah,
it hits right away. Get that good
exactly.
vibe.
And I think it's pros and cons with living with the song for a long time. Maybe you can actually do it better, but sometimes you kind of like overthink it. And
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, I think with this, I think the main thing is, obviously when the fans hear it for the first time, but when they hear it for the first time when you do it live, I think
yeah,
that's really going to come across,
yeah.
nicely
And
and smoothly.
I really think that this song is gonna work live really good. We haven't really played it. I think we rehearsed it like a couple of times before it was even done, but I think this one is gonna be for sure in the coming live set.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited about it, and I know the Confess fans are going to be, they're going to be
Mm,
smiling when they hear this for sure.
hopefully.
They really are.
Yeah,
You and I were talking, we were chatting on the phone, obviously before this interview, and you said, that you thought this was, the best song that you guys put out. And I have to think, I really do. I love the way it, like you said, it transcends the first album and all the way
yeah,
up through. And I think it's going to be, it's a good song to say, hey, this is Confess. If you want
yeah,
to, encapsulate it.
absolutely. And with that, I mean, we're gonna release a new album. I don't know when, but it's coming. But uh, we have a lot of different types of songs on that album. Some songs are gonna shock people in the other way. Um, some songs have a lot of different elements and stuff like that. Um, but I agree. These songs, Spitfire, it's so Confess in many ways. Typical us to do it.
Yeah, when you hit like I said, when you hit play and it comes on, it's just, it's a straightforward rocker with a great chorus.
Yeah.
It's something that the fans will expect it, but then they'll say, hey, this has a nice, modern,
Mm.
clean element to it. So it's a good song, really good
Yeah.
song.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy for you guys
Yeah.
too, man, to see it's coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long time. I mean, we've been playing live, but we kind of like fell into. It was kind of hard because we had a lot of shows planned for our previous album, Burn 'Em All. We were supposed to support that album, and we had like a set list rehearsed and everything, and we were ready to go basically. And then the pandemic hit, and when we picked it up again in like 2022 or something, when we started playing live again,
Mm.
uh, we had songs that were basically like 2 years old, um, and we've been playing those songs live, but the impact, I mean, it's weird to promote an album like 2 years after it's
Right,
released,
right, right.
so it's gonna be feeling good to have something brand new to play live.
Everybody's gonna be excited. I know that.
Yeah, yeah,
This show has a lot of, we have a lot of American audience, obviously,
mm,
and you know, let's get them familiar with Confess because I know I spread the word all the time. But
yeah,
give us a little bit of background about how the band got started because I think you guys are, the pinnacle of this style of music. I love this style. I think it's great to throw it on in a car and crank
mm,
the windows down and
yeah.
give it hell. So Give us a little background about how the band got started, John.
Um, I guess I started band a long time ago. I was like 18 or something.
Right.
Um, it was in 2028, I think. Yeah. Um, and I didn't have any like vision how the band's how the band was supposed to sound. I didn't have a band name. Um, I just wanted to be in the band and play rock. So I kind of picked different people and put them in my band, and then I met our drummer Samuel through a mutual friend, and he joined because he was like he played in another band, and he heard a demo of us. We did a demo back in '08, and he was like, "Oh, I want to play drums in this." So I was like, "Yeah, he should. He's good."
Right.
Uh, and when he joined, him and I kind of started this. We started to dream, that we should give this uh, more time. The band, we should develop it. Um, so that was like the beginning, and we had a couple of different members there, and then we finally found like the original five. That's on our first album. Uh, and we started to tour pretty early outside Sweden. I mean, we played. I think we went overseas, not overseas, but out in Europe after like maybe 5 or 6 shows in Sweden.
Nice.
Because Sweden in that time it was kind of hard for unknown bands to even get a show, and we were like, we need to play live. We can't stay in the rehearsal studio all the time.
Right.
So we kind of start touring even before we had an album out, and slowly started to build a name. I remember we went to Italy or something like that, like four or five times even before we had our first album out.
Cool.
So when the actual album came, Jay, we already had this underground following starting to build. Um, and ever since, I mean, this band has been going up and down and up and down all the time because we've been doing it so long now, and we never had this really breakthrough moment, so to speak. So things happen in different people's lives, I guess, and
Right.
sometimes people having kids and stuff like that. People need to take some time off, but
Right.
in some way we always come back to each other. And it was the same thing about when the pandemic hit. We like the fire in us went out there for a while because we just did an album, recorded it, and put it out, done a lot of like promotion work around it, and
Right.
it was like, yeah, we can't do anything with it. So we kind of like took some time off from each other and the band. We didn't really hang that much as a band. Of course, we met, but when we kind of like came back together because we had a show booked in 2020, no, 2022. Uh, we were having a Zoom call just to see how everybody felt, and we were like, yeah, we should do this show and see how it feels afterwards. And afterwards, it was like, yeah, we should do this.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So this band has always been with us our adult lives, basically, um, but in different stages, I guess.
Right. And that pandemic too, like you said, it not only knocked you down, but like you said, that it reignited that fire, and
Mm.
and it made the band, even stronger.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and I
absolutely,
could see that.
and more focused, I guess, because it's kind of obvious how fast things can go away. Um, in terms of to be able to even play live.
Right.
It took like 24 hours, and then every show got canceled basically, or postponed.
Right.
So yeah, it was a good learning period, and I think we kind of needed that as well, because as I said, me and Samuel, we started the band basically together. I started it, but he joined in, and we've been doing this. It's been constantly going on since we were 18. I'm 34 now, so it's a lot of years of basically every week we either rehearse, or we have a meeting, or we have to plan what to do next. It's been every single week for like 15 years, and the pandemic was the first time ever we were like, oh, I don't need to do anything with a band for a year or something.
Right.
So it kind of
Big change.
recharged. Yeah.
So, when we talk about the early days, and I think that, when people listen how you guys got started, and they hear this new material, like you said, you had success with that first EP, obviously Lights Out, 2010, and you recorded the first album. Um, what was it like back then when you recorded that first album? Because like you said, you and Samuel were tight, and you guys did some touring already even before, this hit. So it's
Yeah.
nice that you did it the right way, I think.
Yeah. We definitely like paid our dues when it comes to playing live.
No doubt.
But I mean, when I look back at that, I mean, Jail turned 10 years this year. So we had a 10-year anniversary this year for that album earlier this year. But we were so eager to get that album out,
Right.
and it took like a fucking year to get it out. We were
Right.
so green. We didn't know shit about recording an album and structure it and stuff like that. So we went into the studio, and basically sometime my kid is screaming out there. No, but we we could record a song and maybe drink too much during the night, and we're like, oh, it sounds so good. Come back the next day and listen back to it, and it was like, oh my god, what were we thinking?
Right.
Sounds
Right.
horrible. Let's scratch it, do it again. So it was a kind of trial and error situation for us,
Right.
but still a good learning experience for us.
What's cool about that album too, John, is Jail is, and when people that are in my circle listen to it, and give
Mm,
feedback on it,
mm.
it still stands the test of time even to this day.
Yeah.
Even though that was 10 years ago and you guys are celebrating. I mean, I look at some of those songs, and obviously Relationship's a great song, with the video and everything, but I still love Back to Hell.
Oh
I
yeah.
listen to that song,
Cool.
man, and I put it in, blow the headphones out. Um, when you wrote back then, when you
Mm,
told us the stories of you
mm.
guys were young, the drinking, and you still had the party, and it was still like a learning process.
Yeah.
What's it like, when you look back at those days, what's the difference between, the writing back then, and how you write now? That maturity, that growth.
Yeah. Um, I don't know really. I guess you kind of developed your songwriting skills over time. Uh, you keep doing it all the time, and you get better and better. But especially on Jail, we didn't give a shit about um, you know um, songs fitting together on an album. We just wrote whatever we felt like, basically.
Right.
Um, Now it's more like you need an album, like dynamic wise. You need maybe a fast song, a slow song, maybe a ballad, etc. And back then it was like, yeah, let's fucking execute
Right.
the stuff that we had. um, so but I think we talked about this pretty recently when we talked about the new album, is that, I mean, Jail it's such an honest album in a way. And I don't think we ever will be able to recreate that kind of album. I think it needs to be recorded of um, some young dudes.
Right. Right.
It's it has that youthful vibe on it. That's kind of hard for an old man like myself to recreate.
You
No,
know,
but you don't. I think the main thing about that album, you don't overthink it that much. We wanted it to be a good album, but um, it was like, yeah, let's put this out. Yeah,
yeah, it's good too because you can see the progression in the band, from
mm,
that album, the early days and all the way up until now. And then you look at a song like, on the last album, Malleus, which I think is a great tune. It
yeah,
has that, it still has that same, kind of style of the, Jail, obviously, but it has that
yeah,
heaviness too. And
yeah.
that's a progression.
Absolutely. And on the new album, I'd say there's a lot of songs that are in territories that we never visited before, pretty much.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe we're not going to be around in a year after the album is released. People may hate
I don't know about that. I think that's going to be, I
it.
think people are going to love it. I think, if fans, listen, obviously, and they progress with the band. I mean, because obviously there's things that go on in life. Like you said, you become a dad, you have the family, you have, the pandemic hit and anything. And that goes into the writing of these albums, the life experiences. And that's where the growth, obviously comes in. And I think the fans are, they're going to appreciate that,
Yeah, yeah.
very,
And I mean, we're still the same dudes, but I think we dive into the songwriting a bit more today than we did before. We don't settle for uh, we need to like it 100% on every song.
yeah, you're more critical now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're very critical to ourselves. Every live show we kind of go it talk it over after the show, and we're like, we should do this and this and this and this.
Right.
So
Yeah, there's always that, if you don't have that hunger to outdo what you did before, then it's kind of like, why are we doing this?
exactly.
This with any band. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
the situation.
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
when we talk about, Confess, obviously, and I've seen, some of the live footage and stuff, and I'd love to see you guys in the US, obviously, so I get
Yeah.
the piece that I could get when I listen.
Yeah.
But what was it like, you talk about those tours and what's it like for a band like Confess, especially with the audience over there because it's a different feeling, over there because the US used to have it,
Oh,
but
you
now
mean
now
Europe?
it doesn't.
Europe?
Yes. And what's it
Oh.
what's it like over there, to do a tour? I mean, they have to love it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of differs from country to country, I'd say. But in general, there's there's a pretty good following of this kind of like 80s metal, wherever you want to call it. Especially when it comes to festivals.
Right.
There's a lot of festivals in Europe that that kind of niches into this kind of music. And I mean, when we started, there was a lot of bands playing this kind of sleaze rock or hard rock or whatever you want to call it. But now it seems like a lot of bands have gone away, broke up or something, and you know, the good ones are left now. If we talk about Sweden, you know, you got like Hardcore Superstar, you got Crazy Legs, Crashdiet, you know, all the bands that are actually good, they're still around, and people, there's a demand for this kind of music still. And I think it comes and goes in waves. You know, it's always going to be like that. But I think festivals are great in that sense for the audience. You know, to catch 20 of these bands during 3 days or something. And I mean, I see a lot of Americans traveling to Europe, especially just for going to these festivals. So it's awesome to see. And I mean, I think everyone would love to come to the States and tour, but it's so hard for European bands to come there and not be coming home empty-handed. You know, it's so expensive for everyone.
Right.
But I mean, America is a great place for band to tour because you can do long tours and play a lot of shows. In Europe, it's kind of like you have to zigzag out and in different countries, and it can be a lot of hassles. You know, you need a visa for this country and customs, and you know, it can be hard also. But yeah,
and they don't make it easy. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Exactly.
You know, we just talked about the tour, and I wanted to bring up, you know, your you know, obviously the lead vocalist now, Crashdiet, and it's you know, it's a band that I've been following for a long time, and you know, I love that sound, and I think it's, you know, what you do as a vocalist for both of these bands, I think says a ton about you, because I think the fit for what Crash does and Confess, obviously, I think you know, tell us about getting that gig right there, and what's it like to work with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really expecting it, for one, but yeah, it was basically Martin Sweet. He called me and he was like, "Do you want to try out? Do you want to come and try out some songs in the rehearsal studio?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." But you know, I didn't really, I couldn't really say if I wanted to do this or not. It was just, I was a little bit shocked at first.
Right.
So I didn't answer him for like a week or something. And he told me that he was like freaking out. He was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna say no."
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very, very uncomplicated thing actually. We met up, had a few beers, and I learned like 5 songs or something. We tried them out. Because I wasn't really sure how my voice was gonna sound with Crashdiet, because the voice is so, it's so determines the sound a little bit of the whole band. You know?
Right.
So I wasn't really sure. I knew I was able to sing the songs, but like the whole sound of the band together, I wasn't really sure about that. But we tried it out, and it was like, yeah, okay, this works. So it was a very uncomplicated thing, and we did that rehearsal, and then they actually never, like, when I think about it now, they never asked me if I wanted to be the singer. I think it kind of like they were like, okay, when do we do the next rehearsal?
Right,
Uh,
right.
and then after that, it was like, okay, can you go to America? And I was like, yeah, sure, I can. And then we went to the Monsters of Rock cruise, and yeah, so it was kind of fast, but it's been awesome, really fun.
That's really cool. You know, you knew they liked you right off the bat. You know, just saying, "Hey,
Yeah,
look,
but
here he is."
yeah, oh, you mean the audience or
No, I
the
mean
band?
the band. I mean, just
Oh yeah,
the not even to get to not even just giving an offer. Just say, "Look, hey, this was an easy transition,
yeah.
so let's just
But
make it happen."
I was kind of like the savior in some way because they had a lot of shows booked, and the previous singer he kind of stepped off. So I guess it was kind of like a panic thing, but it turned out to be um, um, it worked out, you know, basically.
Yeah, that's a way. That's a way life works. You know, you sometimes you get offered those opportunities out of the
Mhm.
blue, and you're able to slide right in. And those guys with their
Yeah,
lead vocalists, the you know, obviously Dave and and then
yeah,
Simon with
mm,
that, and then the changes, I think they were looking for, a guy that's steady and, you know, I know in talking
yeah,
to you in the past, I mean, your work ethic and what you guys do
yeah,
for that band's amazing.
yeah, and I mean, I think every singer in Crashdiet before me had different reasons for leaving, basically. Uh, so um, I don't think it has anything to do with the other guys in the band. Everyone has really different reasons for leaving. Um, but yeah, right now we're having a really good time, and we were playing a lot this year. I was really thrown into this circus, so to speak.
That's cool. We were talking, we were messaging back and forth, obviously, about the touring and everything. And you did
Mm,
something like what, 24 dates, and it's all the flying around and everything. What's that
yeah,
for, obviously a fan like me, and the
yeah.
people that are listening, what's it like to be in that situation for, a guy like you, who just, in the lead vocalist role now for this band,
Mm.
obviously with a great reputation with Confess, and what's that like for you to, to do that with those audiences and that band?
Um, it's been so great in many ways. We've been having a blast, uh, all four of us together, and we've become really good friends. First of all, and I think that's like a key element that needs to be there if you're gonna spend so much time together. Especially with us, um, as you said, we've been flying everywhere. You know, early mornings at the airport and late nights and shit like that. You really need to get along first of all.
Sure.
Um, um, but it's been so uh, it's been very uncomplicated for us basically. Um,
It's good.
and I think we really developed a tight sound band wise. You know, we right now we're very tight band, um, and we deliver every single time, and that's really important. You know, that's kind of hard. You know, when you do like stand up shows, you know you fly to one country, do one show, and then go back home, and then you do it again next weekend. Uh, it's a little bit different when you're out on a long tour for like 4 weeks or something. You
Right.
play every single night. You get better and better every single night, and you know, by the half of the tour, you're really like a fucking machine. You know, as a band.
Right.
And I was kind of worried that when we had like 2 weeks off or something, that we're gonna lose that feeling. But we've been really, uh, it's been, it's like an off and on switch. You know,
Right.
uh, for
I'm
us.
sure.
It's like, okay, now we're Crashdiet, let's do it. Um,
Right.
it's been going really good.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And I
Yeah,
know obviously with both bands, new things in the works. You
yeah.
got this new Confess single, and and I
Mm.
know that, when I first heard it, like you said, when you sent it to me, I was blown away. I was blown away with even just the little teaser that you guys put out there. And I think that
Oh, awesome.
obviously Crash fans and Confess fans, I think that what you do, John, as a vocalist, it's something that not a lot of people could do now. That having that sound, that 80s sound, to be able to,
Mm.
not only do it on album, but you know, to cop it live, and to hear both of these bands and how
Mm.
well you fit in there. I just say hell of a job, man.
Oh,
Really.
thank you. Thank you. And it kind of, I mean, obviously, both Confess and Crashdiet are in the same, um, should we call it like uh, rock universe or something? We're not exactly the same band. Yeah, it's when I listen to it, I hear a big difference, but we basically got the same fans,
Right.
same type of people like our music. But it's a big difference between singing Confess stuff and Crashdiet stuff, I think, for me.
Right.
Um, it's it's different part of my voice that I need to use uh, for the bands.
Right.
And that's kind of cool because when singing Crashdiet stuff, I kind of like discovered a new part of my voice that I hadn't really used that much before.
Right.
Uh, so it's awesome.
That's cool to hear. Now, as a vocalist, after doing it all these years, is there anything that you do to keep yourself, fresh vocally? Because I could hear that, what you sounded like, obviously on those early albums. You haven't lost anything. I mean, you could just hear the progression. I mean, like, this guy's getting better and better and better.
um, no, not really. Try to um, back then when we did the first album, I was struggling a lot with before shows. I get so uh, tensed up, and I maybe I push the voice a little too far sometimes live, especially when we had like multiple dates in a row. I kind of blew out the voice after 2 days or something, and I couldn't sing for the third or fourth day.
Right.
Now I kind of knew I kind of know my limitations, and I can feel in the voice when I'm gonna have a good night or not so good night, and stuff like that. And I
Right.
try to warm up a little bit. I don't, when I was younger, I kind of like I was very good at overthinking everything, and when you do that, especially as a vocalist, you're gonna have a hard time on stage. Um,
Right.
you get so tense in the body, and you get stiff, and you can't um, you need to stay relaxed in some way. And
Right.
I think I'm better today. I've done so many shows now, so I know when it's time to start to get pumped for the show. I could get this like adrenaline rush like 3 hours before show, like
Right.
10 years ago or something, and
Right.
that's too early, man. You can't you can't start like, oh, let's fucking do it, and it's like 3 hours until showtime, and then
Right.
you're gonna overthink it. So I'm kind of relaxed right now, and some nights are okay, and some nights are really good, and that's basically always the case, at least for me. Um, my I discovered that my Achilles heel is that when I don't get enough sleep on tour, um, I'm
Right.
I'm gonna be worse on stage. So I think sleep is the most important thing.
Especially with this kind of music too, and the interaction you
Yeah,
have to have, and you're the focal point,
yeah,
really.
exactly. And I mean, if it's like a one-off show, and you're flying home the next day and you're not gonna play for a couple of days or something, then it's fine. Then you can maybe push yourself a little extra on stage. If you have a cold or something, you can still sing through it in some
Right.
way. But if you have like 4 days in a row or something, and you're feeling like this on the first day, you need to be very careful in how you approach certain stuff.
Right.
Otherwise, you're gonna lose the voice. And I've done a couple of shows being really sick. I did it with last time I did it was with Confess in Germany, like a year ago, and I was like, I had like I had a fever when I left home, and I kind of lost my voice, and I stayed in the hotel room. We went the day before, and I stayed in the hotel room like till 40 minutes before stage time.
Wow.
I was so sick, but managed to do that anyway.
It's amazing. That's part of
Yeah,
the pro, huh? The pro, and the
yeah,
show must go on, huh?
yeah, exactly.
So what, we talked about, obviously the new single, and that hits again
Mm.
this Friday, September 27th. Confess, Spitfire.
Yeah.
Tell us about what's on the way. I mean, for Confess, obviously the new writing and stuff, and you got the new,
Yeah.
Crashdiet, and you guys, obviously just finished that tour. And what's
Mm.
on the agenda for 2024 and into 2025?
Um, with Confess, we have all the songs for a new album, and it's in the recording process. Basically, we started right before the summer to track the album, and we come pretty far in the recording. I think all the bass, I think all the basses are done, and basically most of the guitars are done as well. So
Nice.
it's my time now. But yeah, we our plan is we're gonna release a couple of singles. We have this one coming now, and maybe another one either before New Year's or right after it, and then we're gonna drop some songs here and there for the next like 6 months or something,
Right.
and then we have a new album coming. Yeah, that's the plan.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Mm.
Do you feel, we just brought up singles right here, and do you feel that that's kind of like the trend that's going right now? I know a lot of bands, they push a single hard,
Mm.
and and obviously the album is there's so much that leads up to it now. How do you
Yeah.
feel about the, that, is that the way that you guys look at it now, or is there a lot of bands that you see that are looking at singles that way?
To be honest, I don't like the way that music is being put out today. I much rather release a single and then, let, 4 weeks later, boom, here's an album.
Right.
But that's not the case anymore. Basically, now it's like you need to release like 6 out of 10 songs as singles. So when the actual
Right.
album come out, you already heard most of the songs, and you know that the songs that are not singles are gonna be the bad songs, basically. So, it's like that, yeah. I
That's
mean,
right.
if you pick a single, the single is a song that should represent the band, and it should be like a hit. And if you do it like 6 times in a row on a 10-track album, you know that the remaining four are not gonna be that as good as the other. If it's not like the Leppard Hysteria
Right.
quality on it. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not. When you look at social media and stuff like that, the way people are talking about releasing music today, that you need to create like a lot of content around your song and stuff like that. I mean, I get
Right.
it. We need to adapt to this, but I don't really enjoy it. In that, I'm a fucking musician. I'm not a
Right.
influencer, dude. It's not. I get a
That's
little
right.
disgusted sometimes about doing some stuff on social media.
I'm
But you
sure.
have to do it because otherwise you're gonna fade away, I guess. You need to be out there if you want to grow as a band. So, um, but I think the trend of creating content just for the sake of uh, staying relevant in like the algorithm and shit like that,
Right.
it's wrong, man.
I totally
It's
agree.
not how it's supposed to be. Uh, I think the
Agree.
music should do the talking. Um,
That's right.
yeah,
It's always it seems like it's like that even more so nowadays, like you said. I mean, it's getting worse. That we're putting the we're putting the show before the actual substance.
yeah,
And it's really a
yeah.
shame. It really
It
is.
is. It is. Um, and I mean, when we started out with Confess, it was like uh, we didn't have any social media. Uh, we had something called MySpace,
Right.
and that was an awesome platform for a musician. We got our first record deal through MySpace. We put up like a demo thing
Right.
on
Right.
there, and the record label contacted us, and it was awesome. And you can interact with fans and send emails and newsletters and shit like that.
Right.
And now it's like I see bands doing like stupid, fucking trend videos that it's big bands doing stuff that 12-year-olds like
Right. Right.
just to get the attention. And it's like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be.
That's right. Yeah, you're taking away from the integrity, the substance, and
Exactly.
all this work you
um,
put into this.
yeah, and the music is so secondary nowadays, um,
Right.
and it's a shame.
It is a shame. I totally agree with you. And I see
Yeah,
some of the things out there and think like,
I sounds
what's going on?
I sound like my dad or something like that. I'm like an old dude.
I'm like that too. When you look at the
Mm,
at the young and you think, what are they doing?
yeah,
Because it's not the way we came up.
but I'm such a fucking hypocrite because I still do it,
Right.
because you need to,
You
but
have
I
to.
don't enjoy it. That's the
Right,
most
right.
important. I want people to know that I'm not enjoying social media.
It's just that it's another task put on you. And it's
Exactly. Yeah. And it's basically like record labels don't wanna they wanna do as little as possible and earn as much as possible. Uh,
that's
so
right.
they want the
That's right.
artist to be the clown, basically.
That's right. Get out there and do all that. Yeah, it's such a crazy atmosphere anymore,
Yeah,
for music. And that's why I
exactly.
always tell everybody, we all got to stick together. You got to spread the word. You got to make
Mm,
sure that the right people are hearing the music and when you're behind it,
yeah,
get behind it. Because, if we don't get behind it as fans, then this music fades away, and we don't want that to happen. So everybody that's listening, please spread the
yeah,
word,
and
man. Spread the word.
exactly. And I can really tell that people are uh, they're really making an effort in like promoting both of my bands. You know, I see a lot of comments and stuff, and people are so, without the fans, we wouldn't be here probably, uh, because they're doing more promotion than record companies, basically.
Right. Right.
Um, and that's why it's so awesome to meet fans at shows. We always go out every single show. After the show, we go out and we hang, sign stuff, and talk to people, and it's so rewarding to meet these people.
Right.
Um, and it's
It's
fun.
important.
We got friends all over the world, and it's like a big family. And that was the cool thing about Monsters of Rock cruise. It was such a cool experience to be on that boat for 5 or 6 days, and just hang with people that uh, they're basically the same as you and I. We just love this kind of music, and you can connect and hang every single day. It was awesome.
Yeah, I heard nothing but good feedback on what you guys sounded like on that. People were
Yeah,
really happy to see the band, you know.
yeah, yeah. It was awesome.
That's good stuff. So in
Yeah.
closing, John, how can people get the single? Let them know how to connect with you and confess and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's not going to be a physical single, so it's only going to be streaming. But I guess visit our Spotify or YouTube Music or whatever. Um, I think it's going to be out everywhere, basically. And we're having a music video on YouTube that premieres on the 27th as well, but later that night. I think we're going to put
Right.
up on Facebook what time it's going to be out.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
Thank you.
So everybody, again, September 27th, Spitfire, Confess. I mean, this is, if you're a Confess fan, you're going to love this. You're going to be smiling. And
Yeah.
get on their Spotify links, get on their page, Facebook pages, website, anything. And we'll be spreading the word here. And John, I want to say thanks for, for being here, obviously. But I want to say thanks for doing what you do in closing, man, because, when I listen to, to you guys from the beginning until now, they make the bad days better and the good days even better. So thanks for
Thank
doing
you,
it,
man.
man. Thanks for everything that you do.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, John, best of luck with Spitfire. We'll be spreading the word. Obviously everybody that's listening to this interview, you'll get a chance to hear what John's talking about, get some background on the band, and become a Confess fan like me, because these guys are great. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah. We're great.
That's it. That's it. Thanks, John. Thanks for
Thank
thanks
you,
for the
man.
time.
Thank you, man.